Hello everyone and welcome to another wavelength series. My name is Waveney. I am your master leadership mindset coach and I help leaders like you to thrive in your role, not just to survive, not just to go along, but to thrive and to lead influentially. No. Here's a question. Are you ready to get on the same wavelength? Fabulous. So today I want to talk to you about 3 things from your past that may be adding to that pressurizing situation you have right now, right? And we know that situations occur. You may be in a moment of pressure, but there are some things that add to it. And wouldn't it be great if you can actually filter out and become aware of those things that you don't need to necessarily deal with them, but in the moment when we're going through the situation at work, when we have that pressure, every little thing really intensifies what we are going through. And so my goal today is to help you to filter out the noise, so to speak, to help you to see with clarity what really is the issue. And so I call it the 3 C's from the past that may be adding to what you're going through right now. And so the first one is about competence. Now, I remember when I first got my director role in my 9 to 5. Before I got into that role, I remember that the general manager at the time had said to me that he wanted to promote me, and he sort of had a chat with me because there were some persons on the team that did not want me in that role. And he was like, I think they just need to get accustomed to you. You're perceived this way, they don't really know you, and so we've got to get you ready. And I know that conversation came from a place of care, but truth be told, I was a bit offended. I was like, what does he mean by it? I have been interacting with these people for some time. I've never gotten into conflict with them. I thought we had a pretty good relationship, and so that stuck and stayed with me in the back of my mind even when I got the role. And I found myself at times, like in the beginning, always needing to prove, and that looked like I always felt like I had to know the answer. I always responded right away. I There was something else I did. I felt like I had this intense pressure on myself that I felt like I needed to know everything all the time, right? And that's not possible. I'm here to tell you it's not possible. So if you're going through this right now, stop putting added pressure on yourself. So the first C that comes up is from our past is competence. Now, I think that this happens to everyone. Like if you remember your very first job as an adult, right? Or your very first job, because period, because some people has started working when they were 16 and stuff like that. But think about your very first job and think about how much you wanted to do a great job. And there's nothing wrong with wanting to do a great job. The problem becomes when you want to prove. You want to prove you belong. You want to prove you're right. You want to prove you know. And it sort of becomes a performance. It sort of becomes that you're proving. Well, that's fine in the beginning of your career, but if you are advanced in your career, or if you are a little way in your role, if you're in your role 2 or 3 years, then and it's still happening, you still have that intense need to prove, then this may be adding pressure to where you are right now, right? And this may be added pressure. And so I want you to really think about it because, like I said, we want to show that we are capable. The problem is when we put too much stock on it. How about focusing on being someone with an excellent spirit, being someone who does not believe in mediocrity, right? Those are two different things. The energies are totally, totally different. One is focused on the outward appearance. What will people think about me? And the other one is focused more on, okay, how can I learn, grow, and develop? Totally, totally different. And so if you are going through a season right now where it is you have pressure at work and you're leading under pressure, you need to take an inventory, a mental inventory, that you are not adding to the existing pressure with this first C, competence, that's coming back from your past, right? You need to make sure that you are not performing, that you are not proving, that you are not still pulling that heavy burden of proving to persons. Okay, I think you got my point. The next C that I want to talk about from our past that has the ability that impacts the future, or the present, sorry, is our character. And this is the things that people say about us. Now, if you have been in leadership for any amount of time, you will know that sometimes we have conversations with people, well intended, and they walk out of that conversation and with something, hearing something totally different. And there's a reason for that, right? We all do three things with pieces of information: delete, distort, and generalize, but we're not focusing on that. What we're focusing on is you may be taking up space in your mind and focusing on the fact that someone has said something negative about you. Someone has misconstrued what you said. And when you are leading and you have a deadline or you're leading under pressure, something said about your character will add to it if you are not mature enough or if you are not regulated enough to learn how to manage and deal with it. I certainly have had my share of that. Many of you know I have an HR background and I've had that. Whether I've said it in a tone, I've been told, or persons only heard part of the conversation and they dwell on the negative parts of the conversation or they twist my words entirely. I've had that so many times. You cannot focus on that. If you're to be an influential leader, if you want to learn how to lead under pressure, if you want to get better at it, then this is something that you're going to have to manage. And again, this can add more weight than necessary, right? This can add more weight than necessary. And the reason why I said from the past, the three C's from the past, because even if you are experiencing it right now, this would not have been the first time that you encounter that emotion, that feeling, or that situation. Most of the time you would have encountered having someone speak about your competence, or not speak about your competence so much, but you trying to prove, also someone misrepresenting or misconstruing or totally manipulating and lying about a conversation you've had. If you've lived long enough, you're in leadership long enough, all of these things have happened. And again, Yes, they happen, but it is the dwelling there. It is making all these things mean something about us that add to present day pressure. All right. So the next and the last C I want to talk about is criticism. It's criticism. Now, for me, criticism is different from feedback. And here's my difference. I don't know what the Webster's dictionary, if people use that anymore, says about criticism versus feedback. But my thing is, when somebody gives you feedback, it is meant to uplift, to restore, to provide a resource, something. It adds to you, even if it is something that you don't feel proud of. Maybe you did something and you could have done it better. But it is always accompanied by a resource or support. For me, that is feedback. Criticism is different, where it is ill-intentioned, it is just a lot of noise, it is just pointing out what you did wrong. Here's how it comes back to add. Many of us in our past, we have had bad leaders. We have had leaders that have said things to us and has shared things to us under the guise of feedback or under the guise of constructive criticism. I really hate that word, by the term, by the way, constructive criticism. I really hate it, just so you know. And we've had that. And under pressure, what tends to happen is, if we have not resolved that within ourselves, if we have not learned how to become regulated and manage that part and not make things that people say mean something about us, then present the pressure, we hear some sort of chatter or someone says something and suddenly it becomes an attack, and suddenly we are consumed by it, and suddenly that's all we can think about. Suddenly we are replaying this conversation, we are talking to 6 different persons, right? And many times, especially when you are under pressure, many times the person who is probably saying something, they have no credibility. They're not that great of a leader, or they're someone, like I said, who has no credibility, but yet we tend to focus on the criticism, all because we've had that in the past and we haven't resolved that. We haven't learned to become regulated. We are making it mean something about us, right? And so why are these 3 things important? These 3 things are important because under pressure, when you're leading under pressure, one of the things that happen is you become hyper vigilant. Your body, and you've heard me say this, your body is doing what it's supposed to do. Your body's role is not to, and your brain is not to help you to be a success. That is not what your body is designed for, right? Shocking, I know. Your body is designed to keep you safe. Your body is designed to help you move about in the world and to keep you safe. And so when you are under pressure, you are in your sympathetic nervous system kicks in. I'm not going to get too technical. Your sympathetic nervous system kicks in, and you become hyper vigilant. You become more aware, right? And if you have not dealt with criticism, if you have not learned how to manage, I should say, that is the word. If you haven't learned how to manage criticism, if you haven't learned to filter it, if you haven't learned how to manage the things that people say about you, if you're not secure in who you are, and you're still in the realm and the mode of trying to prove, you're already hyper vigilant because of the stressful situation, anything that slightly triggers any of these 3 will add more pressure. when I was preparing my thoughts for this series, there's a quote that, and I can't remember where it's from, right? I think it was from not Maya Angelou, Alice Walker, but one of those persons. I may be wrong, but the quote was, "Anything dead coming back hurts. Anything dead coming back hurts." And so, when I was preparing for it and I thought about all these things from our past, that was the quote that came to me. Anything dead coming back hurt. And if you think about it in the context of when we have not resolved and put to bed and learn how to manage the things that happen to us, it adds. It adds and it makes us more dysregulated. If we haven't learned how to regulate ourselves, if we haven't learned to let certain things go, we make things mean things about ourselves. We make situations mean something about us, right? And so this is important for you to know as a leader, so that you can filter out the noise, so that you're already leading under pressure. So if any of these three things pop up, you can look at it more closely and identify, well, hey, this, when the person said this is not what they meant, or this really isn't about me, it's about them. And so I really wanted to bring this to the forefront, to give you another tool to help you to lead under pressure. And so one of the things I want to do as well is to share with you down below. I have created a quiz, and it's called how are you leading under pressure? How are you leading under pressure? And so at the end of the quiz, it's a diagnostic. You answer, I think it's 12 questions, and it gives you what may be happening and how to fix that. And so I wanted to share that with you today, and so that you are more equipped to lead under pressure. And so let me know in the comments if this resonates with you, or send me a WhatsApp. Let me know if any of these, one of these three things, if this is something that you were hyper focusing on, or what is going on. Your feedback is important. I want to know how I've helped you. And also, if you have a friend or a family member that's right now going through a tough time at work, send them this video. Send them this video so that they can be even more equipped to lead under pressure. Until next time, I will see you on another wavelength. Bye.